All right, Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Akakwadash for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh is who the world inwardly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ, and there's no God beside them. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for their consistency in teaching us to also be consistency and fervent in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And shalom to the elect, whom the Most High have given ears to hear. And I want to get into this lesson today entitled Abrupt Change Without Mercy. Okay. So let's get into it. Going first into this article, as it says, Fed one meeting away from creating a doomsday market sinkhole. The effective Federal Reserve Funds rate, the EFFR, has been sitting at virtually zero for a long time now. It feels a little strange to think about the fact that it was 14 years ago when the central bank first helped to trigger the crash of 2008, and we are still dealing with the consequences of it today. I only started writing for the Liberty Movement 2 years before that. The amount of time that it takes for economic disasters to develop is well beyond the average person's attention span. In fact, there are many people who are adults today that have no clue what happened in 2008 because they were in elementary school when it went down. And as I read, I was thinking about something the brother Big Bro said yesterday in camp about how the Lord's prophecy doesn't happen on man's time. It could be spanned out, and we see now the reason for that, because the Lord had came in 2008. The brothers that we call elders now, they wouldn't have made it. And then if they wouldn't have made it, we damn sure wouldn't have made it coming in after those brothers. This is how the establishment is able to get away with the negative changes to our national standard of living, because these changes usually happen over the course of decades and almost no one notices. That said, there comes a point in any financial collapse where the floor is as thin as it will ever get. When the next shoe drops, it's going to break right through along with all the furniture. At this stage, there is no slow moving crash. Everything goes all at once. We have already seen this scenario in action, and again, I don't think very many people remember the event. And if the Lord would have came in previous years, in the 2000, or in 2008, many would have been destroyed. And we understand now that it couldn't have been the case, as I mentioned before, because the Lord has to raise up great men in the spirit today, all right, to carry on the torch. And then he had to wake up other men of the hopeful elect. So that couldn't have been. And not only that, but they needed time to grow into what they are today. To continue on the torch. And luckily for the world, that is so, because if it wasn't, no man would be safe. And can't take this time for granted, as most do, in which they're going to pay for that. And the Most High not only had Esau write these particular reports or do these videos on different news sites, but he also had men out of their own neighborhoods telling them the very same thing. All right, but more fervent, more maybe vulgar, so they would get it. However, these people chose, which when I say these people, I'm talking about 2/3 of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They chose to not get it. The scriptures say, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and fools hate knowledge? I forgot the precept I just wanted to bring out. That's a good one. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that they may run that readeth it. Right? And call hello Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for the spirit of prophecy, because like an animal don't wait till danger happens or danger is at its front door to run. They feel it and they get the hell out of Dodge. And through the spirit, we telling our people to arise and depart, for this place is going to be destroyed, and it's going to destroy you. You know? And that's the multiplied wisdom, the multiplied mercy of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is the book of Sirach chapter 5. Verse 2. Follow not thy own mind and thy strength, to walk in the ways of thy heart. And say not, who shall control me for my works? For the Lord will surely revenge thy pride. Right? And that's the common mindset as we read this article, that because judgment is spanned out over a long time, over a so-called long period, that you just get comfortable, all right, and in the Lord's mercy. However, as we just went into the abrupt change of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right, 2008 posed what? A great financial burden upon the people. And then things collapsed, people lost their jobs, and then it was able to bounce back. Right? And as we see, like I said, in the spirit, why that was the case. However, this next fall will not be so. Right? So it says, for the Lord is long suffering, he will in no wise let thee go. Concerning propitiation, be not without fear to add sin unto sin, and say not his mercy is great, he will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners. Now we were all sinners. However, those that don't change, all right, that's who the Lord indignation is going to rest upon. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. Okay? So now going back to this article where it says, that said, there comes a point in any financial collapse where the floor is as thin as it will ever get. When the next shoe drops, it's going to break right through along with all the furniture. At this stage, there is no slow moving money, no moving crash. Everything goes all at once. We have already seen this scenario in action, and again, I don't think very many people remember the event. In 2018, the Fed began hinting at the institution not only of rate hikes, but also cuts to asset purchases and its balance sheet simultaneously. It's important to understand that effective rates have been sitting near zero for almost a decade, and cheap overnight loans from the central bank were feeding one of the longest running corporate stock buyback bonanzas in history. Right? Just what happened back in 2008. Rates were low, people were buying things that they would otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. So now when these rates go up, right, then those same people are going to be shit out of luck. It says, it's important to understand that effective rates have been sitting near zero for almost a decade, and cheap overnight loans from the central bank were feeding one of the longest running corporate stock buyback bonanzas in history. Stock buybacks and easy Fed money facilitated a near endless bull market in equities. The lack of real price discovery and the perpetual free for all was so bad that the mantra for stocks became buy the fucking dip. The assumption was that the Fed was always going to step in to protect markets from falling. Why? Because they had done this for several years, creating one of the biggest spikes in the Dow and Nasdaq of all times. Why would they do anything different? But in 2008, for a short time, we witnessed what would happen if the central bank was to take away the punch bowl, and it was not pretty. Closing in on mid-2018, the Fed began to hike rates and cut its balance sheet more aggressively. We had seen small intermittent rates since 2015, but these had not coincided with asset cuts or changes in overnight loans to major banks and corporations. The markets immediately began to reverse more than we had seen in some time. Gas prices jumped and the yield curves flattened after rates rose a mere 50 basis points. It didn't take much to cause a panic among investors. So to be clear, the major business and investment framework of the U.S. has been so dependent on cheap credit from the Fed that even the tiniest increase in interest rates was enough to almost unhinge the entire system. Of course, bull market ticker trackers and the media missed the whole purpose of this exercise. The Fed reversed course on hikes in their balance sheet in mid-2019 so that the mainstream once again assumed that this meant the central bank would never allow markets to fall. Back in 2018, the argument was that there was no need for the Fed to hike rates or drop assets because there was no imminent threat of inflation. The average economist and the media refused to acknowledge the many warnings that high inflation was going to hit us in the near term. But the Fed knows exactly what it is doing, and they understand that the trillions upon trillions of dollars they created out of thin air arrive after derivative crisis will ultimately come back to bite the U.S. economy in the rear in the form of price inflation and stagflation. And we got to understand that this devil wants to cut and do away with this financial system, right? So he wants to keep pumping air into the bubble, as they say, until it pops. And unfortunately, there won't be no, as the scriptures say, take balm for her, if so she may be healed. But this place won't be able to be healed through a stimulus. They want to do away with the old and bring in the new. All right, which leads to prophecy. And, no matter what this devil does, it all plays into the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This devil been wanted to bring in the RFID, CHIP written out in Revelations 13 and 16. But the Lord didn't want it to be so. But now we in those times to where countries are 100% cashless. Now we in those times where they're talking about straight up, as I read the article earlier, about brace for wave of cyber attacks. Which I believe, those cyber attacks are going to be, well, it says a wave, so it's going to hit different sectors that they want to do away with, i.e. the financial system, right? And things of that nature. So it says, Another interesting fact about the hikes of 2018 is that Jerome Powell, and this goes to show you as we get closer and closer to the Lord's return, it's a lot harder and harder. Another interesting fact about the hikes of 2018 is that Jerome Powell had warned about the consequences of such actions years prior in 2012 during the October Fed meeting. I think we're actually at a point of encouraging risk taking, and that should give us pause. Investors really do understand now that we will be there to prevent serious losses. It is not that it is easy for them to make money, but that they have every incentive to take more risks, and that they are doing so. Meanwhile, we look like we are blowing a fixed income duration bubble right across the credit spectrum that will result in big losses when rates come up down the road. You can also say that this is our strategy. Yet he signed off on a policy anyway once he became chairman. Why? Because he was ordered to. Former Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan once admitted that the central bank answers to no one in government, but this does not mean the Fed is independent. The Fed is only a part of a larger global central banking machine under the oversight of the Bank for International Settlements. This is not conspiracy theory, it is simply reality. The notion that the Fed acts thoughtlessly or that their goal is to keep the U.S. economy afloat is just not true. There are much bigger plans at play, which is these elites want to pull down the society and build back better, as they will want to call it. All right, I'll just read this little tidbit, these next few paragraphs, and then I'll put the rest on the comment board because it's a lengthy article, but it describes what's going on and it gives you a synopsis and in the worldly view of what has happened over the years, right? And it coincides with the mercy, in 2008. Fast forward in 2021, all right, the dwindling mercy of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Many brothers woke up, they got the truth. Now, we seeing judgment from Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, you got certain guys falling off. You got, certain Israelites being put to death in a gruesome fashion. You got people losing their jobs. You got a mass pestilence taking the world by storm. So we see, all right, less and less mercy from Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. And, once the elect is sealed, which I'm going to grab that in a little bit, there's going to be no mercy. That's why we stress to get this word right now. We go out there in the highways and hedges, rain, sleet, snow, speaking to you in, your language, how you would normally speak, and slang or whatever the case may be, telling you what's to come. All right? The Most High privatized or gave you your own weatherman, so to speak. However, you're not preparing yourself for the storm to come. So it says the next deliberately engineered economics crisis. My position back then remains the same today. The rate hikes of 2018 were a test run for a more aggressive and deliberately engineered crisis down the road. The Fed has its own agenda. It does not care about protecting U.S. markets, nor does it even care about protecting the U.S. economy in general. I hold that the Fed is a weapon for social and political change within America, and part of its job is to greatly reduce the standard of living of the population while making it appear as if this decline is a natural consequence of the U.S. system. Keep in mind that none other than Karl Marx was insistent that central banks were a primary pillar of a socialist communist system and its ability to maintain control of the public. As Marx noted in his manifesto of the Communist Party, written with Frederick Engels, despotic inroads on the rights of property will be unavoidable as a means of entirely revolutionizing the mode of production. In other words, in order to meet their revolutionary goal, communists would need to destroy property rights. Among his 10 requirements for a communism government, number 5 reads, centralizing of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. Control of the currency and credit framework means control of the population of any given nation because it allows a central authority to reduce the standard of living scientifically. This is to say, they can create economic decline or collapse out of thin air. But why do this? But why do this at all? Because financial desperation is the fastest way to create public dependence on a central authority. So as you see, like I said, I'm gonna stop there, but brothers could read the rest on their own. It's not too much left. However, I'm already at 20 minutes and I wanted to grab some more precepts. But the scriptures say mercy is seasonable in time of judgment, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. All right, but there's a time and a place, as it says in Ecclesiastes 3, for all things. It's a time to build and it's a time to break down. The Most High is in that time of breaking down right now. All right, and whoever's going to get it, like we brothers was out there preaching the word. You had zombies passing by, but it was one lady that stopped, and the only reason why she stopped because she understood, whether she been watching the news or reading or whatever, she understood prophecy. She understood certain things about prophecy. So this goes to show you that the only people that stopping and listening right now is the people that sees what's going on, right? And when it becomes plain to everybody, which the reason why it isn't now because the Most High blocked their ears. When it comes plain to everybody, the Most High is going to remove us off the street. The Most High is going to give us a hard spirit to not give a fuck about these people and really take away his words out of our mouth, because it's him speaking through us. It's not us speaking. It's not just us speaking, right? But this is Second Ezra 7. I'll start at 60. Nevertheless, they believe not him, nor yet the prophets after him. I'll start at 59, Salakia. For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, choose thee life, that thou mayest live. Nevertheless, they believe not him, nor yet the prophets after him, no, nor me, which have spoken unto them, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction, as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. I answered then and said, I know, Lord, that the Most High is called merciful, and that he have mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world. Again, when we translate it into what's happening in the world, the Most High didn't send his son back in the year 2000. He didn't send his son back in the year 2008, right? So him multiplying his mercies, and upon those that also turn to his law, and that he is patient and long suffereth those that have sinned as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needeth, right? So the Most High gave you his men because he understood that it was needful, and he gave his men time to learn about him, to grow, to become men of the Lord, to go from boys, all right, products of our, of our society, wherever we came from, or whatever walk of life we came from, to become men all right, of the Lord, and upon those that turn to his law, and that he is patient and long suffereth those that have sinned as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needeth, and that he is of great mercy, for he multiplieth more and more mercies to them that are present. You know, he is. The Most High is orchestrating all of this, right? And through the Spirit, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai gave us front row tickets to understand why. You know, he even gave us backstage passes, really. More than front row tickets, backstage passes. You know, you got, you know, I was watching a lady by the name of Catherine Austin Fence. You know, you got the Kill Gates. They got the front row seats, but we got back row. We got we got backstage passes. So we really seeing how things is working through the Spirit. And that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where it needeth. And that he is of great mercies, for he multiplieth more and more mercies to them that are present and that are past, and also to them which are to come. You know, which I didn't wake up in 2008. I would have been missile food. You know, certain brothers woke up after me. So the Most High multiplied mercies for them which are to come. For if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein. And he pardoneth, for if he did not sow of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them, the 10,000th part of men should not remain living. So when the Most High pulls back his mercy, you know, it's judgment without, it's judgment, the scriptures say, judgment without, let me grab it. James 2:13, for he shall have judgment without mercy that sheweth no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. Right? We use this for Esau Edom, which is definitely the case. But 2/3 that, you know, mocked and scoffed the prophets, that put hands on the prophets, you know, that got certain brothers locked up or got their kids taken away from them or got their jobs taken from them. They're going to receive, the scriptures say, the same shall know it, that a prophet was among them after death by pain. Right? But it says, I answered then, who was I? Verse 68, and he pardoned him, for if he did not sow of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them. Jumping down to verse 69, and being judged, if he should not forgive them that are cured with his word, and put on the multitude of conditions, there should be very left peradventure an innumerable multitude. Okay, so there'll be a lot less left, which that's going to be the end goal anyway. You know, and it's a beautiful thing that we got this word, and Lord willing, we continue to grow with it. You know, not just holding on to it, but to grow with it, as the parable goes of the you know, the men that took their talents and flipped them and multiplied it. Those are the ones who the Most High is gonna, you know, put in rulership in his kingdom. This is Luke chapter 12, verse 36. And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Blessed are those servants, whom the Lord when he cometh shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. So however long the Lord took, guess what? They were still watching. They were still going out there, you know what I'm saying, looking at the news, right? Seeing what's to come. What's that's a watch. All right, a watch is it says a guard, person keeping watch, sentinels of the place where captives are kept, a prison, of the time of night during which guard was kept, a watch, i.e. a period of time during which part of the guard was on duty. Habakkuk 2. And at the time and at the end of which others relieved them. Right? But he goes into I was thinking about, how other men have entered into the, the labors of those of our elders and apostles. King Mashah, High Priest Yaiquab, Abba Bivens, Ariah, King Elder Ariah. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants also. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. All right, i.e. suddenly. Something happens suddenly, you're not ready for it, you're not prepared for it. However, we should be prepared for the Lord to come back at any time now. All right, because the Lord, as the Apostle Gabar, in his many years walking with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, told us, young brothers, of how change, you can never expect things to stay the same. Change happens in a harsh manner a lot of times. Right? But this is Revelation chapter 7 verse 1, ending it off here. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Right? Which is the culmination of all this back and forth between Russia and America. Right? Them ICBM nuclear missiles. Right? The tit for tat, the rumors of war, the he said, she said. At the end of the day, it's going to lead up to World War III. All right? In the midst thereof, edification will be coming out. Brothers will be waking up all across the world. The elect will be getting built up. And rumors of wars and earthquakes in diverse places, these things has been happening for years on end, but the scriptures say the end is not yet. Right? And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed. So let me look up that word sealed. To set a seal upon, a mark with a zeal, to seal, for security. Going into the word thawa in the Hebrew, a mark of exemption from judgment. Right? But those that are marked for exemption, as we just read in 2nd Ezra 7, have taken or learned of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, learn to build a trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. We have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which are sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So if that, Lord willing, you are edified, shalom to the elect.